Coach, how can a win like Tuesday night, how can that kind of re-energize your team right in the middle of SEC play?
Yeah, we'll find out. I think just going over there and given our situation on the mound, what we were trying to do that was just a pure competitive spirit that won that game, and so that's certainly something that makes you feel good about yourself, but I don't remember the last time we won 2 games in a row is, so we need to string some wins together, which is tough to do in this league, but definitely it's a positive step, and I think anytime guys are confident and feel good about themselves, that's a good thing.
Do you recall ever having to deal with this many injuries, especially on the pitching staff during the season?
Had some years at TCU. I mean, I think it comes and goes. You're always going to deal with some, but this many to an already kind of depleted, or given the roster situation, new coach, the way things ended for the program last year, kind of the scramble to put together a team in the summertime. We could ill afford any real big injuries, and we've had some, and that's just opportunity for somebody else. And maybe we can get a few of these guys back in the next 2 to 5 weeks, something like that. But it's definitely been a struggle, that's for sure.
When you look at Alabama, this team, what challenges will they present you guys this weekend?
Alabama's, their record doesn't reflect it, but they've played really well. They got walked off twice, I think, against Mississippi State last weekend, national champion. They have a lot of left-handed hitters. That'll be a good challenge for us. That'll be a good challenge for we have 3 lefties in the bullpen, so they need to do a good job for us when called upon, and Alabama can really pitch. They have good left-handed pitching. So it's SEC series on the road. I've actually never been to Tuscaloosa, so I'm looking forward to the trip. I think the last time I was a part of playing Alabama was 1994, so it's been a while. but yeah, I mean, they're a good club.
So how you use Dallas to close the game, might you do that again? And is one of the other starting pitchers a candidate to do something like that?
No, we won't. Don't plan on doing it again. But I want to see. I'm not sure Detmer will throw the first game. We want to get down there tonight and practice to see how Micah feels. We might back him up a day and move Prager up a day just to give him an extra day's rest after doing that. And then, of course, next week we have 4 games in 5 days because of the Thursday to Saturday series. So it's going to be a little bit of a shuffle to get everybody enough rest, but also pitch the innings we need to pitch. So I think depending on how much he's thrown, we could always, that's not out of the question for really anybody. But it's not something we want to get used to because ultimately you want to develop a 4th starter and you want to have a defined roles in the bullpen. And right now we don't have that luxury.
Coach, obviously Dylan Rock had the big swing on Tuesday night that's really emerged over the last couple of weeks. What have you seen about him and his approach that's changed and allowed him to go on this tear?
Yeah, I don't think anything's changed. I think he's just he's more confident. He's making things simple. He's got a clear mind. He's a pretty over-analytical guy. He wants to take a swing and then talk about his hands and his head and his feet and his elbows or whatever else instead of just, hey man, clear your mind and get a good pitch and put a good swing on it. And when he does that, when any hitter does that, they're normally in a way better spot than they are when they're over-analyzing things. And so I think having Moss hitting behind him, Kaler on base a lot, I like our offense, and when Werner gets back up, assuming we don't have any other injuries, I'll like it even more. It has its own identity to it, but there's enough speed, there's enough power, there's enough right, there's enough left, there's enough switch to where, as an opposing coach, when you're managing a bullpen, there's a lot to think about as you're working your way through the order. And Logan Britt's his average has reflected it a little bit, but he's hit a lot of balls hard. And he's a presence in the bottom of the order, and so I think anytime you literally have a chance to score in every inning, I mean that's a good offense.
About your recent success on the road, a lot of times people don't like to go on the road, but the way you're going, I guess maybe you might consider that a hidden positive.
Well, that's a great thing to be able to do, is to go into somebody else's place, especially the LSUs and Texas of the world, and do that. I think a team can come up with an identity that way, and this team has. The best thing we ever did was be at LSU and kind of an us against the world mentality, and I think this particular group thrives on that. We just need to bring that same competitive spirit to Alabama this weekend, and then at home next week against Texas State. I think we play in Kentucky.
Do you sense it's giving the guys an extra level of confidence, not only to get some nice wins, but to have a stretch early in the year where you're getting really good starting pitching, just pitching in general? Now the lineup's kind of going off. That hopefully you can see the vision of putting those two together.
Yeah, well, we haven't gotten the starting pitching yet, though. That's the thing. We've gotten it from Micah Dallas, but we really haven't gotten it consistently from anybody else. And that's not to call anybody out. That's just fact. Detmer needs to pitch deeper in games, and we've spotted Prager leads in the last two SEC starts, and we haven't won those ball games. So we'll find out. But I think everybody needs to follow Micah's example of being out there and giving us a great chance to win deep into a ball game.
You look around baseball, and even at the major league level, Tampa Bay Rays using what they call bullpen days, and 5-6 guys go out there. That makes up one whole game. What are your thoughts on that philosophy? Has that ever occurred to you to try and do something like that?
I think in college baseball, number one, there's no minor league, so they get to do that and then send a guy down and bring a guy up. So there's no AAA in Brenham for us to go grab somebody. You can do that, I think, from time to time, but the best teams don't do that. You don't. The best programs, the best team. What we have to get this program to is where we have 4 really good starters. If we have 4 games in a week, we have 4 guys we're real confident in, because that 4th starter, man, that Tuesday starter, he's got to pitch the first game in the conference tournament. If you lose one game in a regional, he's got to start that regional. And to think that you can go through a season and have that 4th game be a mix of several guys, if it's the right guys, I guess you could pull that off. And that looks like that may be what we have to do until somebody emerges as a starting pitcher, or until we get Christian Curtis back. But ideally, I don't want to have to do that. But if we're forced into it, that's what we did Tuesday night. We're going to have to do it that way.
You used Shannon Scamardo as a DH on Tuesday night. How much more will we see of him, and who are the other possibilities to add in that spot?
Channing, we gave Channing we obviously gave Taylor a lot of opportunities there, and he had some good at bats, but started to struggle a little bit, and wanted to give. We think Channing was a really good hitter for us in the fall, and in the preseason. Then he had an injury that set him back a little bit, that kept him out of a lot of at bats right before the season, I think it was. And so we just wanted to give him some chances, and I think he has 1 hit, but he's drawing like 4 or 5 walks. The problem is he's not stealing any bases, right? And so you'd like to have someone in there that's, you either want to be hitting the baseball and extra base hits and stuff like that, or you want somebody that's going to get on base and then be able to do something in the offense with. So we'll keep giving Shannon chances. I'd like to. Jordan Thompson, I still have hope for him. He had a really good season and opportunities last year. Hadn't has as many opportunities this year and hasn't done as much with them, but I think somebody like that, like a Ty Hodge, I'd like to give somebody else opportunities if we're not going to start getting more out of that. But so far Chandon's at least gotten on base, which is that's the beginning of any offense.
All righty. Thanks and giggle.
Thanks.